of genetics, that is mutation. So if you are a bio student of class 12th or above classes, this one is one of the most common topic of which you should know each and every basic details. It is also one of the most vast topic which has what is mutation, what are its different causes, why does it occur, what are its different effects and different types of mutations. And among the types also, there are many types and subtypes of mutation. So it is one of the vast topic, and we will be going to cover this whole topic in 3 subsequent videos. So be sure you stay tuned to our channel and learn all the basic details. So subscribe onto our channel and don't miss all the details. So let's start with what is mutation. A mutation is a change in a DNA sequence. So whenever there is a change in a DNA sequence apart from the normal one, even if there is a change in a single base, that is called as mutation. Right? So when we look back towards the history of mutation, the term mutation was coined by Hugo de Vries in 1900. Now, even if there is any damage in the DNA or there is any change in the DNA sequence, what happens is it alters the genetic information which is carried by the DNA. The DNA, it codes for some amino acids which in turn will form some proteins. So if there is any change or any damage in this DNA sequence, it will alter the final protein. So that is called as mutation. All the times this mutation may or may not have some visible effects. Sometimes you may see the effects of mutation visibly and sometimes there may be no effect, right? So sometimes it is positive, like evolutionary forces. Evolution occurs because there is genetic variation. And genetic variation is because of mutation. So evolution to occur, mutation should happen, right? So these mutations only, they are the main source of evolution. So sometimes this mutation is positive towards evolution and sometimes it may be negative, like some genetic disorders or cancers is also caused due to mutation. So what are the different causes of mutation? Mutation is caused by the errors during the DNA replication. We know during the cell cycle, that is mitosis and meiosis. In these 2 cycles, during the S phase, most of the DNA is replicated, right? Now if there is any mistake in the DNA replication in the S phase of the cell cycle, it may lead to mutation. So during DNA copying, mistakes are done and those mistakes will flash in the form of mutation, right? And the second most important cause of mutation is by the mutagens. Mutagens are mutation causing agents, right? Some chemicals, if you are exposed to some chemicals, more amount of pollution or some physical agents like UV rays, X-rays, okay, they are also called as mutations because they cause mutations. So if a person is exposed more to these mutagens, mutation causing agents like chemicals or X-rays, mutation occurs. Now there is one more cause of mutation, that is because of deletion or because of adding of some genes because of the transposons, or which you also say jumping genes, they also cause some mutations, right? But the most 2 common causes of mutation are errors or mistakes caused during the DNA copying of mitosis and meiosis, and second one is exposure to mutagens. Next you come to the effects of mutation. Effects of mutation. Mutations, it is not necessary that always it will show some effects, right? Sometimes mutation occurs in the but it doesn't show any effect. So it can neither show positive effect nor it shows negative effect. So such type of mutations, they are called as neutral mutations, which do not have either positive effect or negative effect, right? The second point is mutations cause genetic variation, which is essential for evolution. So you see, for the evolutionary forces to act on, there should be genetic variation. Then only when the genetic variation is there, then only natural selection could be there and evolution could be there. So mutation is the ultimate source of genetic variation, then natural selection, and hence it is the ultimate source of evolution to occur. Okay, so in this time, the mutation, it will act positively because it will be the source of all the evolution, right? Then the next point is harmful mutations, they cause genetic disorders or cancer. So sometimes mutations may also be negative, okay? Negative mutation, they cause genetic disorders like Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. There are many syndromes which are due to some non-disjunction chromosomal mutation, okay? So mutations, they may cause genetic disorders or are the reasons of cancer. You see, these days people, they are exposed more and more to these mutagens. That is why mutation occurs in their cells and cancers occur. Would you understand my point? Now, if you have understood up to this, the basics give us a like, because your like motivates us to make more and more educational videos like this. Now, what are the different types of mutation? Now, if we see the main types of mutation, it is chromosomal mutation and genetic mutation. This chromosomal mutation is also called as large-scale mutation. Large-scale mutation. I am representing mutation by N. Okay. And genetic mutation is called as small-scale mutation. Small-scale mutation. So, mutations, the basic main types of mutation, there are two types: chromosomal mutation, the mutation which occurs in chromosome, that means the last segment of DNA in chromosomes. That is chromosomal mutation. That is why it is called as large scale mutation. And the mutation which occurs at the genetic level, only some bases are affected, that is called as genetic mutation. That means it occurs at the genetic level, only some bases or some genes are affected. Okay, so that is genetic mutation, or you may also call it as small scale mutation. Okay, now this chromosomal mutation has also 5 subtypes. Deletion, a part of chromosome is deleted, inversion, deleted, and then it is reversed and joined. You see, we will be discussing all these various types of chromosomal mutation and genetic mutation in our subsequent videos. So I told you, stay tuned, subscribe us onto our channel and don't miss out all these important points. So let me tell you in shortly. So first is deletion, where a part of chromosome is deleted. Inversion, chromosome is deleted and inverted and joined back. Third one is translocation. It is translocated from one chromosome to the next chromosome. Non-disjunction. You see, like the triple X, sometimes the chromosomes, they do not segregate properly during meiosis. So they cause non-disjunction type of chromosomal mutation. And the fifth one is duplication. Some of the part of the chromosome is duplicated. So we will be discussing it in details. Stay touched. Okay. So next one is genetic mutation. It is also called as small scale mutation because it affects only some genes or some bases, right? When the genetic mutation is small enough, when it affects only one base, that is called as point mutation. Point means only one point or only one base. Then substitution, when base is substituted by another base. Insertion, another base is inserted in place of another base. Deletion, when one base is deleted. Or frame shift, due to deletion of some bases, the whole frame shifts. Okay, means the reading shifts. So that is frame shift mutation. Genetic mutation also we will be discussing in details in our subsequent videos. Right? So these are the two main types of mutation: chromosomal mutation and genetic mutation. But apart from this, based on other characteristics also, this mutation is classified, like based on the survival of the individual, right? Sometimes the mutation is so severe that the person or the individual who undergoes the mutation, he do not survive, they die. Okay, such mutation in which the person who undergoes mutation does not survive, that is called as lethal mutation. The person dies, right? Then vital mutation is the type of mutation which do not affect the survival of the individual. Okay, the person which undergoes that mutation, he or she doesn't die, right? So that is vital mutation. Excuse me. Then the next are based on causes of mutation. So what are the different causes of mutation? I told you already, these are the two main causes. Now based on them, there is also types of mutation. That is, first one is spontaneous mutation, which is caused naturally. Maybe due to some biochemical changes occurring inside the body, that mutation occurs. So such mutation is called as spontaneous mutation, which occurs naturally. Next is induced mutation, the mutations which are induced by the mutagens, mutation agents, mutation causing agents. So if person is exposed more to some chemicals, more to some X-rays, more to UV rays, they act as mutagens and mutation occurs in them, and such type of mutation is called as induced mutation, because this mutation is induced in the cells by the mutagens, right? So this is types of mutations based on the causes of mutation. Now we come to the next type based on the tissue of origin. Okay, tissue of origin, in which tissue the mutation has originated, it has started, right? The first one is somatic mutation, which occurs in the somatic cells. It occurs in the somatic cells, that is normal body cells, not in the germ cells. Okay, so this somatic mutation is not inherited. Okay, and the second type is germinal mutation. It occurs in the germ cells like ovum or sperm. So these are the germ cells on which mutation occurs. Now if mutation occurs in the germ cells, remember this point, this mutation is inherited from one generation to the next generation. So if someone asks you whether the mutation can be inherited from generation to generation, then the answer would be if the mutation is somatic mutation. That means mutation occurring in the somatic cells. The mutation is not inherited. Okay? But there is one more point, that in some bacteria which reproduce asexually, in asexually reproducing organisms, somatic mutation is inherited. But in sexually reproducing organisms, only the germinal mutations, that means the mutations which occur in the germ cells, they are only inherited. So this is the main difference between the two types of mutations based on the tissue of origin. Somatic mutation occurs in somatic cells, germinal mutation occurs in germ cells. This cannot be inherited in sexually reproducing organisms, and germinal mutation is inherited in sexually reproducing organisms, right? Now the last type of mutation is based on the type of trait affected. Okay, some mutations are visible mutations. Visible mutation means whatever the mutation has occurred in the DNA, the protein is different protein is formed and that is visible in the particular phenotype of the person. You can identify that this one is a mutated person. It is visible in their phenotype, that is visible mutation. And biochemical mutation, that means such type of mutation are not visible. Mutation occurs internally and it is not visible in the phenotype of the person. Maybe there are some changes in the type of proteins formed, but maybe those proteins are not so important, they do not play so vital role that it causes a change in the phenotype of the person. So visible mutation, it changes the phenotype of the person. It is visible from outside also. And biochemical mutation, this type of mutation, it occurs internally and is not visible in the phenotype of the person. So now you see, let us recapitulate all this. So what is mutation? Change in the DNA sequence. Causes of mutation, it is basically caused due to errors in the DNA replication during a phase of mitosis or meiosis, and it is also because of exposure to mutagens. Effects, it sometimes, most of the times mutation is neutral, sometimes it is positive, which results for genetic variation, and genetic variation is essential for evolution. Then many of the times the mutations are negative mutations which can cause cancer or any of the other genetic disorders. Main types of mutations are chromosomal mutation and genetic mutation, and also based on the other characters, okay, there are different types of mutations, like based on survival of individual, it is lethal mutation, person dies. Vital mutation, it does not affect the survival of the person. Based on the causes of mutation, it is spontaneous mutation which occurs naturally. Induced mutation occurs because of the mutagens. Based on tissue of origin, it could be somatic mutation on the somatic cells. Germinal mutation occurs on the germ cells. They are inherited in sexually reproducing organ cells. And lastly, type of trait affected, visible mutation, mutation which is visible in the phenotype of the person, and biochemical, it is not visible in the phenotype of the person. Now, hope you have understood all these basics of mutation. In our upcoming video, we will be seeing all the details of the chromosomal mutation, of all the different types of chromosomal mutation and different types of genetic mutations.